Welcome to the Career Shift Podcast. I am Avis Green, your retail career development expert and HR pro. My goal is to help you grow your career so that you can have impact and all of the money that you need to live out your life the way that you really want. Whether you are aiming for a promotion, preparing for an upcoming interview, or you just feel stuck in your current job and you want to know some things to help you get to the next level, this is where your career goals become career wins. So let's dive into today's topic. Turn your resolutions into results. Welcome to the very first podcast episode, and welcome to a beginning of a new year. So we are still in January of 2025, even though January is fastly approaching the end. We're at the beginning of a new year, and a new year is always an exciting time to set goals. So we're going to talk about how you can turn those resolutions into results. We don't want resolutions that will be forgotten by February, March, and then it turns into, oh, well, next year. We are going to talk about how we can make sure that this is the year that you achieve those career goals. So the first step is obviously to select your goal. What do you want to achieve? Do you want to get a promotion? Do you want to get a raise? Do you want to just become the best at what you're currently doing? Whatever you want to set your mind to, we want to get clear on it so that we can work on whatever that is the remainder of the year. So once you're really clear on it, my biggest suggestion is to keep it in front of you. You want to see it visually. So in 2019, I had an audacious goal to make $100,000 a year. So to increase my salary to $100,000 and to go into a role that allowed me the flexibility to take my kids to school when I wanted to take them to school. And it wasn't going to be where they had to go to before school and after school. So we were living in Memphis at the time, and Memphis school starts around 8 or 9 o'clock. And I needed to be at work at 7. So I couldn't stay and take the kids to school. My husband and I both had to be at work. And so my goal was to not have my kids go to daycare before school and after school. That was very clear to me what I was going for. It was clear to me why I wanted it. So you got to understand why you have that motivation. When it came to the 100,000, I wanted to be able to buy a house. And I knew that if we were making what we were making currently, then I wasn't going to be able to buy the house that I really wanted to. So if I could increase my salary to $100,000, which was about, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was about a $30,000 or $40,000 increase from where I was at the time. So it was, when I say audacious, it was a big one. It was not one of the goals where it was like, okay, I can see how it's going to work. It was one of those, we're going to put it out there, we're going to do the work, and we're going to see how it happens. So keeping the goal in front. During that time, I literally wrote on my bathroom mirror. I wrote 100K on the mirror so I could see it when I was brushing my teeth. I could see it when I was washing my hands after I went to the bathroom. Like, I could see it all the time. Every morning I got up and looked at my vision board, and it had it on there. It had the house and all of the things that I was working towards. I kept it in front of me. My kids, every morning when we took them to school, that was a definite reminder that we were taking them to before school care. And so that was my reminder, like, next year, we're not going to have this same thing. Next year, we are not going to be dropping them off. So keep your goals in front of you so that you're able to remember. I think that's the thing that makes us forget about our resolutions, is we forget to remind ourselves. We're so passionate about it at the beginning of the year. It's like, oh, I got this, I'm going after it. But then as time kind of tampers on, we forget. And it's like, oh yeah, I did have a goal to do this, or I did have a goal to do that. So let's keep it in front of you constantly so that you remember what it is you're going after, why you're going after it, so that you can take the steps necessary every single day to chip away at that goal. So that leads us into our next thing, which is take daily action. We want to take daily action, but we do not want to overwhelm ourselves. So when I say daily action, I mean small steps. If we have a book that's going to help us get to our goal, so I'm a huge fan of leadership and personal development books to help make sure that your skills are getting better at work and help to make sure that your mind is staying strong. So if that's going to be one of the things that you're going to do to help you get that career goal is read a leadership book, I'm not telling you to read the book in a week. I'm not even telling you to read the book in a month. I am saying let's find out what you can do. Even if it's just as small as 1 page a day, I'm going to read this page and I'm going to process the information, and then I'm going to figure out how I can implement these actions into my day-to-day life or into my work life. So you want to take steps so that you're making progress, but you're not going to overwhelm yourself so that you end up burnt out and then you don't even pick the book up because you got so tired of trying to force yourself to read it. Next is going to be to make sure that you are holding yourself accountable. And ideally, you can have someone to help you with this step. So if you've got an accountability partner, I use my sister all the time as my accountability partner. She lets me know what she's working towards, and I tell her what I'm working towards, and then I'll send her random messages. She'll send me random messages. If I'm like, hey, today is a day that I'm going to knock all of these things out, then she will give me a call. Hey, how's it going? Are you actually working on them? So if you got an accountability partner, then that is going to be my number one suggestion. But if you don't have one, then can you find an online support group? Can you find a family member that maybe doesn't know what you're working towards, or they're not sure what exactly you need to do, but you just tell them, hey, I need you to call me tomorrow and ask me if I completed my important task. And I want you to hold me accountable for completing my important task. They don't need to know what the important task was. It's just the thought of having someone call you and say, hey, did you do it? The feeling of being able to say, yes, I got it done is one that you want to be able to give yourself. So find an accountability partner or a support group so that you're able to hold yourselves to whatever those actions are that you're going to take. And again, it does not have to be big actions. It can be small actions. At one point, we checked in weekly. And so it was just, hey, how did you do this week? Oh, I did my reading, 5 out of 7 days or 3 out of 7 days. This week was really rough. And so it's sometimes very simple actions, but you want to set those clear actions, set those small wins, and then have someone or or a support group that will allow you to say, yes, I got it done. Now, if you aren't able to have a support group or accountability partner, then I suggest using apps to help you stay on track. So I use it's a Habit Loop app, and I can't remember the exact, I think it's called Loop Habit Tracker. And I use it on my Android. I don't think that it's on iPhones, but I'm sure that there are a million apps out there. I found this one. I really like it. I've stuck to it for the last several years. And this is how I track my daily behaviors. So it is very simple. You go in there, you set whatever the habit is, set a reminder so that it will remind you when you have to actually complete that habit. And then you say yes or no. I love that it's got streaks on there. So it tells me like you're on a 20-day streak. Keep up the good work for completing this habit if it's a daily one. So if you don't have someone specifically that you can check in, or you're like me and you want to have somebody to check in and make sure that I'm keeping myself accountable day to day, then I highly suggest you leverage the technology that we have to be able to track things like that. we've kind of talked about how we can set it up, some different things that we can do to help make sure that we're keeping our motivation going. Another thing that's really important that we do is identify what kept us from hitting this goal in the past. So we know all the things we need to do. We're working to put all of those in place. But if we stop and think, why didn't I get this done last year? Why didn't I achieve this goal last year? It could be that you achieved a different goal last year, and so this is just your next step. Then you want to look at what could possibly keep me from achieving this goal this year. We want to look out in the future and not be negative. I'm not saying it's all about being negative. It is about being realistic and identifying things that can keep us from being able to hit the target. So if it is your work-life balance. So say your family has a lot going on and your kids are into sports and it's really hard for you to find the time to increase your skill set, like if it's going to be your family, or maybe it's you personally. Maybe you know that you are prone to being overwhelmed and that's why things don't tend to work out. Maybe it is, you know that you are going to be graduating, and so you're going to have to spend a lot of time in your school books before you can even think about that career goal. Whatever it is, identify it and then come up with some ways to prevent the issues beforehand. So let's not wait for you to get off track for 2 weeks and then it's just easier to say, oh, forget it. I'll work on that another time. Let's try and prevent the falling off track and identify the things that's going to be hard for us, and then identify some things that will help. So for me, I know that I don't feel like doing a lot of the things I know I need to do for my own development, to progress my career, to improve my company at the end of the day. I know that this year I'm really focusing in on doing things early in the morning, getting up early in the morning so that I can knock out those tasks before I even get the chance to be tired and say, oh, I'll work on it tomorrow. So whatever your things are, just make sure that you identify them and then come up with some sort of steps to help prevent you from falling in that pitfall. I actually have something very helpful when it comes to planning your career goals for the year, and I'm really excited to share it with you guys. It is called the Skill Set Scanner, and so it's going to help you identify your skills that you do really well in and then identify those opportunity skills. I think that you should 100% lean into the skills that you do a really good job at, figure out how you can leverage them to help you get that next career step, and then also work on the ones that maybe you aren't the best at. The Career Skills Scanner will help you sit down and identify them. So you can actually download it for free at www.theavisgreen.com/scanner. That's theavisgreen.com/scanner. You can use this to help identify your career goals, and I'm really excited to hear about how it helps you. So if you download it and it helps you, definitely send me a message. I respond to all of the messages that I get, and definitely excited to offer this skill set scanner to you. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Make sure that you are subscribed to our podcast, and I can't wait to see you in the next episode. Make sure that you follow me on all the social media pages. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, I'm on YouTube. So follow me on all of those, and I will see you guys, I'll talk to you guys on the next episode.